In this video, we will take a quick look at desktop environments. Desktop environments are the part of the distribution which determines the user experience. Let's first understand why desktop environments are important with an example. KDE and GNOME are two different desktop environments. Ubuntu and Manjaro are two different distributions. Now let's consider Ubuntu with the KDE desktop and Manjaro also with the KDE desktop. If you use and try out both of these, your experience will be 90% similar. Not only that, KDE Ubuntu will be 90% dissimilar with GNOME Ubuntu, even though you might expect them to be very similar because both of them are Ubuntu, right? But they are indeed very different. These are some of the various desktops which are available to the user. The ones on the left, GNOME, KDE, Cinnamon, Pantheon, Budgie, will work optimally with computers with at least 4 GB of RAM. If your computer has less than 4 GB of RAM, use one of the three lightweight desktops which are Mate, XFORCE, and LXQT, with LXQT being the lightest among the three. Ubuntu can come with GNOME desktop, KDE desktop, Budgie, Mate, XFCE, or LXQT. So Ubuntu offers a lot of choice when it comes to desktop. Linux Mint only offers 3 desktops, which is Cinnamon, Mate, and XFORCE. Let's take a look at the desktops individually. All of the desktops are different in terms of their look and feel, default applications, workflow, software center, and their functionality and customizability. Starting off with GNOME, undoubtedly the most popular desktop environment. It has a very different look and feel from what you're used to. It is geared towards productivity, and its functionality can be greatly enhanced through the use of GNOME extensions. But it is not as customizable as something like KDE, for instance. Instead of a traditional taskbar like in Windows or a dock like in macOS, we have a dash screen which you can bring up by hitting the super key or your Windows key. Here you have your favorite applications on the left, a global search at the top, and workflows towards your right. GNOME offers a keyboard-centric workflow with keyboard shortcuts which you can configure for anything. For example, you can easily switch between workspaces using shortcuts on your keyboard. So if you want something different, try out GNOME. But when you use GNOME for the first time, it might take a while to get used to it. For GNOME, I recommend Pop! OS. But if you want the GNOME experience but want it to look like Windows, use Zorin OS Core. Instead of trying to customize Pop! OS to look like Windows, you can just use Zorin OS Core instead. Next up is KDE, which is undoubtedly the most customizable desktop environment. By default, it has a Windows type look and feel to it, but it can be changed to anything. Here is KDE after customization. KDE has a lot of themes available and is pretty much the polar opposite of GNOME. KDE also has a good set of applications just like in GNOME. Two of the popular ones which I use across all desktops are KDE Connect for connecting your Android phone with your computer, and also KDE Live for video editing. However, I don't recommend KDE for new users as there are a lot of settings available and a lot of tweaks are there, and this can be overwhelming to most people. But if you want to try it out, download KDE Neon or KDE Ubuntu, also known as Kubuntu. Next up is Cinnamon. So if you want a beautiful desktop with enough customization and functionality with a Windows type look and feel to it, try out the Cinnamon desktop. The Cinnamon desktop offers a lot of functionality just like in GNOME and is also customizable like in KDE, although not to the same level. It is the most loved desktop environment. Whether you are a GNOME person or a KDE person, you will love Cinnamon. Cinnamon desktop is pretty much the main reason why Linux Mint is so popular. If you want to try out the Cinnamon desktop, download Linux Mint Cinnamon. The next up is the Pantheon desktop environment. It has a macOS type look and feel. It is very elegant desktop and is ridiculously simple to use. It is very minimal and comes with only a handful of basic applications. It is not very customizable, but this is the perfect desktop for simple users. If you like the Pantheon desktop, download Elementary OS. Now, all of the desktops we have mentioned so far work optimally on computers with at least 4 GB of RAM. Now, there is also the Budgie desktop and the Deepin desktop, which you can check out for yourself if you want. Now let's take a look at the lightweight desktops, starting things off with Mate. Yes, it is called Mate and not Mate. Mate is the desktop of choice if you are running old hardware but you like to customize. It has a lot of layouts built in, so it saves the user a lot of trouble. Mate is also very functional since it is essentially what GNOME used to look like 10 years ago. If you like the Mate desktop environment, download Ubuntu Mate. Next up is XFCE or XFace or XFORCE as some people call it. It falls somewhere in between Mate and LXQT, so it is considered the go-to lightweight desktop for a lot of popular distributions like Linux Lite, Zorin Lite, XFCE Ubuntu or Xubuntu, then Linux Mint Lite. It is light enough for a lot of people, but if you want something even lighter, use LXQT. Now, LXQT is the ideal desktop if you want the absolute best performance from your computer. It used to be LXD in the past, but it has now been discontinued in favor of LXQT, which is also done by the same people. Unlike LXDE, LXQT is very pretty to look at and it provides essential functionality to the desktop. If you like the LXQT, use LXQT Ubuntu, also called Lubuntu. Hopefully this gives some idea about the desktop environments. But the best way to understand a desktop environment is to use it. If you have any comments or queries, please leave them below. So thank you guys for watching and I'll see you in the next video.